Hello everybody, this is FC7, and I thought what I would do today for this video is go through the process that I use when I'm looking at a new zone and I'm looking for solo spots. So here we are in Sathir's tomb. I'll put the map up. This is from the newest expansion, Ring of Scale, and there looks like there's 4 main areas that you can look for solo spots in. And what I will do is just go to the first spot, which is the entrance area. And it looks like there are some undead here that I could solo. Don't want to try to solo these Sarnax because they're on a decent faction. It looks like they con dubious. So if I were to try to solo these guys, I could probably do it, but I would lose faction and they would attack me when I enter. If I were to try to solo the undead on the left side of the entrance here, it's not a good idea because there are people coming in all the time, and what I don't want to do is have anybody be in the way when I'm trying to solo these guys, or I don't want to train anybody coming in. So I'm going to go down the other pathway, and this is something I think is interesting because there's one undead mob right here in the corner, so he would be here, and he would be very easy to solo. I think I'll show you an example. So this is simple route routing. I've done plenty of videos on this tactic. And if you're familiar with my videos, you know that I have a video out where I'm soloing one mob in a small room, and it's more just for being AFK if you're doing something in the house. Oh, I forgot to debuff this guy, so I'll just debuff his magic, because the magic line on the necro dots never land, or they land too unreliably. So they put this guy in the corner here, and it doesn't look like he's a quest mob, so this looks like a very safe spot. And this area right here has all friendly mobs, so you don't have to worry about anybody training a path towards you. So a path of undead mobs. So we'll continue to dot this guy. This is using all level 105 spells. I'm level 106 now, but I'm not using any level 106 spells. Really, the only level 106 spell I'm using is the Shield of Scales, which I should recast. So none of the dots looked impressive enough to use. So again, there's around 35 seconds left on paralysis. So it'll be a little bit time consuming, but the way I usually solo during the day is I have a lot to do, so I'll just find one mob and sit here and wait for him to respawn. So that's an idea. That would be my first solo spot in this zone. Now we'll run to the second area. This area has all friendlies, so they're all conning okay. I don't want to try to solo any of these guys. Now the third area is one that I found to be my main solo spot in this zone. But before I do that, I'm going to show you the fourth area and why it's a bad idea to try to solo that. So I'll just use the Eye of Zom. And I will show you why that's a bad idea. So this fourth area is just full of mobs. And there's a bunch of pathers. A pather is one that just is following a certain path, and they're unpredictable. Right now there's a group here, so you really don't see how packly dense this area is. Usually there's a whole lot of mobs right here on the stage. But I could not find a spot that I could just sit and pull these mobs reliably without getting an ad. So fourth area is pretty much out of the question. Just click off the eye. Now this area, which I consider to be like the third main area in the zone, spot right here is a spot where I will show you how easy it is to solo. So what I usually do is start with this Bile Gnome. And then start your route routing here. So this is what I consider mob number 1 to solo in this spot. And again, I've had some people asking if you should wait for these dots to wear off before you reapply the dots. I don't do that. I just keep up casting them over and over. I don't care if they run out, because mana should not be a problem for a necromancer at your level. So I'm doing this at level 106, but over time this should get a lot easier and a lot faster as the damage from your dots increases. So right now I'm using level 100 to 105 dots right here. But as you get to like level 110, you should be faster at this. The mob should lose hit points a lot faster than right now. And always watch the time remaining on your paralysis spell, because if it breaks, he'll come at you and end you pretty fast. So he's almost to 0 hit points. There we go. And first one is defeated. Okay, so the second mob is right here. And what I usually do is aim him for as close to under the torch as I can get him. It seems like the skeletons have less hit points than the biles. So he's the second mob in this rotation. Don't forget your debuffing. And I also use a combination of Scent of Terrace and my Lady's Entropy. Entreaty? That's what it is. I either use that or my Orb of Tishan. They both tash the mobs. Although this one's a little bit better, I have a video on how to solo it. And this golem over here, if you place this skeleton correctly, he won't assist, so you really don't have to worry about him. And there are no roamers that come through this area. At this point I'll probably cast Death Bloom, get mana back up a little bit. And using Death Bloom, your hit points will go down, but I also use a tap right here that will trigger a spell that will give me mana back, or give me health back. That's the old Reluctant Benevolence. It's not triggered anymore, it's passive. So yeah, it's a little bit obvious that skeletons have a little bit less hit points than the biles. So at this point you can either go through this pack of skeletons by using Invis versus Undead, or you can just come around for the next two mobs. This one will require you to feign death, so just cast Encroaching Darkness, your snare, and then you're going to have to wait a little bit for Death's Effigy. No, hold on. Snare him, paralysis him, feign death, and as you can see I have two mobs aggroed. The Embalming Fluid, I'll have to wait for paralysis to reset for 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so get up, target him, paralysis him, and now you have two mobs that you can solo. Now I'll start on the Embalming Fluid. It's a good idea to snare this guy too, just in case your paralysis wears off. And once again, there are no roamers that come through here either. Oops, forgot to debuff him. So you might have seen that the spell was resisted because I forgot to debuff. anything that has a magic resist here will be like resisted a lot. And again, with all the spells that I'm using, I have them set up on my keyboard. I don't use key binding or anything. There's a way to use macros where you have spells automatically go by putting cast 1 or cast 2. I don't do any of that. It's not really playing if you have something set up automatically for you. That's just pressing a button. So I ain't gonna do it. So some necros watch my videos and they're like, why don't you have macros set up, FC? I don't use macros. Oops. Always keep an eye on the timer for paralysis. And if you want to, you can have a mercenary out. Never have a caster mercenary, always have a healer mercenary, because casters will break the root. Personally, I don't like to use mercenaries because it's not really soloing if you're using a merc. So I'll try to show you how much experience per kill this is at level 106. I think it's 1%, but if you're using your Lesson of the Devoted, you should get like 2%. So right now I'm at 67% into level 106. And as soon as he gets to 0 hit points, 68. So at this point, what I like to do is come back around here. And do you see these mobs fighting? They're skeletons fighting Sarnax. You can actually solo one of these guys. It'll take some Feign Death, Ardus Effigy usage. So what I like to do is just point the direction of paralysis, get that guy. You'll get aggro, but just Feign Death. And I have this Hexbone skeleton rooted right here. And that's the guy I'm going to solo. Just wait for these two that have aggro on me to get back. Okay, so now that aggro's gone, come back around here and start to solo him. But what I want to do is reposition myself so I'm over by the door, so use Whisper Wind to get over there. Now we're back facing a little bit better direction. And by the time you defeat him, the other mob should have repopped. So you can do a total of like 5 mobs in this cycle. And I'm thinking, I know that my shaman has a root ability like this, and he also has dots, so I'm thinking maybe a shaman could do this as well. And I know they have some kind of feign death, so it's possible a high-level shaman might be able to do this, but I'm not sure. My shaman's level 105, but I never really solo with him. So this is mob number 5. And there's a hexbone skeleton back again. Remember to position him underneath the torch. And try to stay a little bit farther back because the bile might respawn. And I think the bile will assist the skeleton. But the bile that will spawn around this middle area and path to where this banner is. So if you're far enough back, he won't aggro you, or he won't assist the skeleton. Maybe I'll try to push him back a little bit more, so just reapply paralysis. And he's at around 53%. Okay, so this goo just respawned, but he shouldn't aggro you at all. So if you want to, what you can do is just target him and just paralysis him next to the skeleton. And now you have 2 mobs that you can solo. So we'll just debuff him. Okay. keep a close eye on the paralysis duration. Like I said, as you get higher levels, this should go a lot faster. And one other thing I thought I'd mention is, I know sometimes people will actually do the progression in these zones. During around when Seeds of Destruction was released, the developers decided to lay a path out for people to play the game. Like, they just don't throw a bunch of quests in a zone anymore. I don't know if any older players are watching, but like pre-SOD, they would just create the expansion, throw out a bunch of quests, and players would have to figure it out on their own. Well, now there's an achievement system, I'll show you, where everything is broken up into, let's see, missions, mercenary and partisan. This is basically what they want to lay out for you in each expansion, in each zone, is the mercenary and the partisan. I don't follow any of that stuff. I just go through like the old days and solo mobs as if the zones are just open. But if you're somebody that does that, that's fine. I just don't feel like it's real EQ if there's a path laid out for you. Because when I started the game, there was no achievement system, and they just didn't lay out like a progression path for you. You had to figure it out yourself, and you had to search through forums and search on like websites and stuff. Get this guy defeated. Don't forget Third Spire to make your dots more powerful. Okay, so now that he's gone, I can start on this skeleton, because he repops pretty fast. Wait for the golem to go back. And we'll start another mob. He might be a little too close, so we might get aggro again, we'll see. Just paralysis him back again. Nope, he's fine. Debuff him. And I think that's really all there is to this zone. This is probably the best possible way to solo here. So basically you would just keep doing these, defeating these same mobs over and over. And the first mob that you pass in the hallway is similar to my video about that mob in the Temple of Draga, where you can just sit there and solo him over and over. Actually, after this mob is dead, maybe I'll go check to see if he's still, or if he repopped. So this guy has 38% left. And if anybody's watching who's level 105 and you want to know like the spell setup I'm using, I do have a video somewhere on my channel that explains exactly which spells to use at level 105. You can just check back on that. Okay, so he's pretty much gone. We'll check that mob in the hallway. So yeah, he's back. So I could either solo him right now or move on to the cycle that I have started. This guy's respawned. Or I could choose to get the skeleton right here, which I think I'll do, because we know that the mobs over here won't respawn anytime soon. So I will paralysis him and solo him. Always keep an eye on your mana, which I'm having no problem with right now. And depending on what time of year you're watching this, you might wonder why I'm wearing this hat. It's actually December 15th right now, so usually I do this for the holidays. Come January, I'll take the hat off and go back to my basic fashion of wearing all black. So by now the mobs over on the other side should be repopped. Yeah, there they are. We'll get this guy down to 0. Wait till he's pretty near defeated. Then we can move on to the other side of the room. So that would be the south side. This is the north area. You can also mix it up a little in Swarm of Decay. Hardly ever use it, but maybe 3 skeletons shooting arrows is pretty cool. They don't really do much damage, and the developers nerfed them a few years back. They used to look really, really neat. Like they used to be full-size skeletons with arrows, bows and arrows. But people were complaining on raids that they were too big. People couldn't see when there's 50 other people in the zone, or I don't know. So now they're little skeletons. They should have just left them. Alright, let's see. Death Bloom. This video is going kind of long, so I think I'll name it something like an evening solo in with FC or something. So this skeleton's just repopped. This one seems to repop the fastest of everything in this cycle. Remember to get him underneath the torch. Third Spire. Scent of Terrace. Tash. And some of these skeletons do cast this a spell on you, which the spell effect, it doesn't really do anything to a solo on Necromancer, because all it does is turns healing into harm, and we don't have to worry about that. See, my skeletons are already gone in Swarm of Decay. It's not really that great. And I don't think you have to worry about aggro if you get too close to these skeletons over here, because I think you can walk right through them. They must be coded to have aggro specifically on these Sarnax. Yeah, I'm getting really close. They're not attacking me. So you don't have to worry about standing too far back and having them attack you. I'm waiting for that embalming fluid to respawn. One thing I thought I'd mention about these brown golems over here, might not be a good idea to try to solo them, because I think they have a whole lot of hit points. I tried to solo one the other day and it took forever. So they may have a lot more hit points than the skeletons. Yeah, I won't even attempt to. Can go over here. Feign death, wait for the vial to lose aggro, or wait for paralysis to reset. If you have max level paralysis, it doesn't take too long, so 5 seconds. So now you have them both, and you can switch off between one or the other, or you can do a full rotation on one and then start a full rotation on the next. It's up to you. Gotta debuff him first. Now I am running pretty low on mana. I have 20% left and I'm trying to solo these 2 mobs, so when stuff like that happens, I stop using this spell right here, Paraxin, also called Daiko, I think, I don't know. That takes up a huge amount of mana. That was one of the newer spells that was released in Empires of Kunark. You can also switch to Blood Magic. So if you find yourself really low on mana, what blood magic does is just trades health for mana. Move him over here. Reapply paralysis. Maybe I'll try to use Daiko and see what happens. See if any things respond. Nope, not yet. North side hasn't responded yet. So there's one that's gone. Work on this guy. Yeah, I went from like 99 to 69 because of blood magic. But there's a way around that too, because if you have a life draw or life tap dot in your lineup, it can trigger Reluctant Malevolence, so you don't have to worry. Or if you're running too low on health, you can just cast your Eye of Zom, press tap, target him, have your left tap up, and just get your health back. So there should be no reason why you die doing this. So there's that guy. And that should just about do it. Just keep defeating the mobs that pop up. There'll be 2 over here, and then 2 over on this side. And of course you can also work the one into your rotation that is just sitting by itself right here. Any questions or comments, leave them below. Thank you for watching.